Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Council meeting on the 23rd of September 2024. We will commence with the reading of the Acknowledgement of Country. I call upon Councillor Franco.
I acknowledge the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people as the traditional owners and original custodians of this land and pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and elders from other communities who may be with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Franco. Welcome to tonight's Council meeting. Before we commence the meeting, I request that all mobile phones are turned off or switched to silent. The Council meeting is being live streamed on the Council YouTube page, so you can watch the proceedings of the meeting, councillor deliberations and voting. The meeting will also be recorded and made available on Council's website as soon as practicable after the meeting. My name is Councillor Lisa Hollingsworth and I am the Mayor of Berundara City Council. I will start by introducing my fellow councillor colleagues. Seated to my left on the horseshoe table is Councillor Felicity Sinfield, our Deputy Mayor. Good evening. Councillor Nick Stavrou, Councillor Wes Galt, Councillor Di Gillies, and on the opposite side of the horseshoe table is Councillor Cynthia Watson, Councillor Gary Thompson, Councillor Jane Adders, Councillor Susan Biggar and Councillor Victor Franco. I also acknowledge in attendance this evening our Chief Executive Officer, Mr Philip Storer, sitting on my right, and Manager of Governance and Legal, Brian Wee, on my left. There are other officers in attendance tonight and they will be introduced as required. Mr Wee, do we have any apologies this evening?
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Park has an apology this evening.
Thank you. Councillors, I'm in search of someone to move a motion to adopt and confirm the minutes. I believe as tabled behind. Minutes were dated on the 26th of August 2024 and were in our board pack and on our website. Do I have a mover? Councillor Gillies.
So moved, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And seconder, Councillor Stavrou?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Is there anyone opposed? I see no opposition. Councillor Gillies, did you wish to speak to the motion? No. I will now put the motion. Those in favour? I declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Next item is declaration of conflict of interest of any councillor or council officer. If there's anyone that wishes to declare a conflict.
I will in general business, thank you.
Thank you and noted. And I see no other lights on. Next item is deputation and presentations, petitions and public submissions. Mr Wee, are there any this evening?
Through you, Madam Mayor, none this evening.
Thank you. Item 4, informal meeting of councillors. Councillors, again, as circulated in our papers. Is there anyone that is prepared to move the motion to accept the informal meeting? Councillor Gillies.
So moved, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And seconder, Councillor Adders.
I'm happy to second, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone opposed? I see no opposition. Councillor Gillies, did you want to speak to the motion? No, thank you. I will now put the motion. Those in favour? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Public question time. Council encourages the submission of public questions prior to 12 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Questions submitted prior to 12 noon will be provided with a detailed verbal response as well as a response in writing. Those submitted after 12 p.m. will receive a verbal response if possible, but will otherwise be taken on notice for a more comprehensive written response in due course. Mr Wee, do we have any public questions?
Through you, Madam Mayor, there are no public questions this evening.
Thank you. Notices of motion. Do we have any notices of motion?
And no notices of motion as well, through you.
Thank you. Now, we will proceed to item 7, presentation of officer reports. Item 7.1, annual financial statements and performance statements for the year ending 30th of June 2024, including recommendations of the Audit and Risk Committee. This item will be introduced by Sapphire Allen, our Chief Financial Officer. Good evening, Sapphire. How are you?
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. This report presents the recommendations of the Audit and Risk Committee pertaining to the annual financial statements and performance statement for the year ended 30 June 2024. The Audit and Risk Committee meeting was held on 17th of September, and the 23-24 annual financial statements and performance statement were reviewed by the committee and endorsed for consideration by Council. The Victorian Auditor General's Office completed the audit of the annual financial statements and performance statement. A representative from the Auditor General's Office was present at the Audit Committee meeting. The auditors have found no issues that would warrant qualification of the statements and have advised the committee that the Auditor General has given preliminary approval subject to Council endorsement. The recommendation authorises the Mayor, Councillor Lisa Hollingsworth, and Councillor Nick Stavrou to certify the annual financial statements and performance statement in their final form. Following adoption of the recommendations of the report, the annual financial statements and performance statement will be forwarded to the Auditor General's Office for final sign-off. This sign-off is expected to be received in time to meet the statutory deadline of 31 October 2024 for submission of Council's annual report to the Minister. Thank you, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ms Allen. So I see two lights on. Councillor Stavrou.
No questions, Madam Mayor, just foreshadowing a motion when the appropriate time arrives.
Thank you. And Councillor Watson?
No questions. Happy to second at the appropriate time.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Galt?
Thank you very much. I mean, it might be a silly question, but other comprehensive income, that's quite a big sum of money. Is there any explanation around that? Page 4, comprehensive income statement.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. That's in regards to the revaluation, so the net gain loss on asset revaluations.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor Gold. I see no other lights on. Councillor Stavrou, did you wish to speak to the motion you foreshadowed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I would only say a couple of words. As Ms Allen said, that these financial statements were prepared and have been audited, have gone through the Risk and Audit Committee. A lot of discussion and scrutiny goes to these statements, and a lot of work by many people to achieve this outcome, including councillors and officers and the team of the CFO office.
Thank you, Councillor Stavrou.
without
Now,
further
before we
ado.
go any further, I'll just ask, is there anyone opposed
What motion is he moving?
the officer's recommendation? Sorry,
Yes, the officer's
that's
recommendation,
yeah,
yes.
that's the motion you've moved. Thank you very much. That was my understanding. Thank you. And sorry, before we go any further, is there anyone opposed to this motion? I see no opposition. I know, Councillor Watson, you indicated you wanted to second the motion. Is that correct? Yep. Thank you. And again, I see no opposition. So, Councillor Stavrou, would you like to speak any further to the motion or reserve your right?
Nothing further, Madam Mayor.
Nothing further to add. Thank you very much. And Councillor Watson, as the seconder of the motion, would you like to speak?
Briefly, I guess as a way of explanation to any people who might be joining online to understand what it is that we are moving tonight, and to just let the community know that the council's actually required to prepare and include this performance statement within its annual report. And the performance statement includes the results of the prescribed, the service performance, financial performance, and sustainable capacity indicators, and other measures, together with a description of the municipal district of which we are, the City of Boroondara, and any explanation of material variations in the results and notes to the account. This particular statement has been prepared to meet the requirements of the Local Government Act 2020 and the Local Government Planning and Reporting Regulations of 2020. And I'll leave my remarks there as simply just an explanation for what it is we're doing here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Watson. And again, I see no other lights on, so I will now put that motion. Those in favour? Thank you. I declare that carried unanimously. Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Ms Allen. We now move into general business. So, councillors, with your indulgence, if I may speak first, I just wanted to acknowledge that this council meeting is the last formal council meeting for this council term, so not just for this year, but for this 4-year council term. And I am aware that we have 3 retiring councillors that we will not see in this chamber again next year, or at the completion of council elections. So I just wanted to acknowledge the service of who's in the room this evening. Councillor Thompson, thank you very much. I know you were first elected in 2016, and your 8 years of service to the Burundara community is extremely appreciated and valued, and I believe Councillor Sinfield will say a few words on behalf of your service to community shortly. And I also want to acknowledge Councillor Biggar and thank you very much for your 4 years of service since first elected. And just wanted to acknowledge with this current council that we have at the moment, we have an amazing diverse group of talent coming from very different backgrounds, people that have ran for council on different platforms, and front and foremost, integrity, transparency, dedication to our community has always been at the front of everyone's minds. And I know Councillor Park, who is the longest serving councillor that is retiring very soon at the end of this council term, has actually served 12 years. And again, I will hand over to Councillor Sinfield in a minute to speak about his legacy. But from my voice to you, I just wanted to thank you all very much. And I will now hand over to Councillor Sinfield. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have a few words to say about a couple of the retiring councillors, as well as acknowledging your 12 months as Mayor of the City of Burundara. So I might start with you, with your indulgence, because you've given me the floor. So Councillor Hollingsworth, tonight is your last night chairing a scheduled council meeting. Of course, we do have an unscheduled council meeting which doesn't have general business in a couple of weeks' time. So over the past 12 months as Mayor, you've been dedicated and diligent in the role serving the community Burundara-wide, and we thank you for that. You're a fierce advocate for your residents. You've worked tirelessly on matters that you're passionate about. It's a long list, but it certainly includes things such as protection of our heritage, the environment, combating graffiti and community safety across the entire city. So I take this opportunity to thank you for your service as Mayor for the of the City of Burundara for 23-24.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Almost feels like, you know, someone's 21st birthday or something, but I'll try not to stoop too low in the roastings. But I might now move on to Councillor Park, who, as you did mention, is retiring. He is currently overseas studying research methods as part of his Master of Science degree at Oxford University, and I'm honoured to say a few words about him and his time serving on Burundara Council. I'd like to start by acknowledging that whatever I do say will probably be criticised, potentially inaccurate and incomplete, and I'm sure that I'll omit some of his biggest and proudest achievements. I note that it's challenging to write a valedictory speech without it sounding like an obituary, but I can confirm that Councillor Park is alive and well, in fact investing, as I said, in his professional career and his development, and not in fact dead. So where to begin? Well, Councillor Park has more post-nominals than most, so I won't try to rattle off all of them. Councillor Park is an accredited specialist commercial lawyer, as well as a certified practicing accountant, and most would say quite overqualified to be elected as a councillor here at Burundara. But we're thankful, usually thankful, that in fact he is. There's no doubt Councillor Park is quite an incredible professional with a distinguished career, particularly in the law. Councillor Park is in fact our most experienced councillor, albeit that he's served 12 years like Councillor Addis has, but he was first elected to Burundara in 2012, having already served 2 terms on Toowoomba City Council, and is now retiring from public office here. So over this time, Jim was mayor twice, in 2015-2016 and again in 2017-2018. As far as buildings and physical achievements are concerned, the Greythorn Hub is certainly one to be proud of. It was constructed in partnership with and with the generosity of the North Balwyn RSL branch, and additionally received over $3 million in contribution from the federal government. The council contribution was $1.7 million. The project was around $5 million. The state-of-the-art facility officially opened on the 1st of September in 2018 and includes the Greythorn Maternal and Child Health Service, the Greythorn Library Lounge, Trentwood at the Hub, which is a neighbourhood house, Access Health, and of course Greythorn Early Learning, childcare and kindergarten. There was a $300,000 upgrade to the Hart Village shopping strip, making it safer for pedestrians and vehicles to get around, whilst acknowledging the history of the area. Greythorn Shopping Centre was also upgraded in 2019, 270 odd, I think it was actually 700 square metres of garden beds, 36 additional trees and improved parking bays. Councillor Park also has a strong affinity for community safety, and our community has benefited from his knowledge and external experience with Crime Stoppers International and the Parole Board, Victims of Crime Association, as well as his knowledge of public safety and anti-terrorism, his keen appreciation of CCTV and other such offence mitigation and detection measures. Councillor Park has been heavily involved in the Kew Recreation Centre Steering Committee, through early design phases through to influencing the current negotiations and advocacy. Other items include the Freeway Golf Course and more recently the redevelopment of Hayes Paddock, the All Abilities Playground, where Jim couldn't quite resist the opportunity to hold the Minister to account. Councillor Park has been a fierce advocate for our community on state projects impacting Burundara, including North East Link. And I would certainly prefer to be on the same side of the table as him than on the alternate side. Just like the Herald Sun headline said in 2017, hard work is a way of life, Councillor Park will certainly be remembered in this chamber for his media-worthy, attention-grabbing one-liners.
Well said, thank you.
A few words about Councillor Thompson. And I apologise, I don't have quite as much prepared because I was caught a little off guard. I'm sorry, Gary, but we've been on this journey together somewhat since we were both elected in 2016, and you were Mayor in 2020-21, and some key achievements of yours include the increased public housing complement for Markham Estate, which I know you worked tirelessly on. New Ashburton Seniors Centre is certainly something to be proud of, and various sporting ground upgrades across particularly Solway. The Y Street renewal and Alamein Neighbourhood Learning Centre renewal, as well as something that I know that you're very passionate about, is the Gardners Creek Master Plan. So thank you for your contribution to the City of Burundara over the last 8 years.
Thank you. And Councillor Biggar, would you like to speak about your 4-year term here at Council?
Thank you so much. And I suppose I don't really want to speak about myself, but really to thank the community, and particularly the residents of Riversdale Ward, but I suppose Burundara community more broadly, for placing confidence in me to represent them over these 4 years. I've been so impressed by the interest in and often the hard work of, on behalf of the community on these issues that are really important to them. We all know that there are legions of volunteers committing thousands of hours a year across our city, and many of the issues they are working on and that I've seen them working on with us are ones that I've been probably most proud of when I think about my time on council. Things like addressing climate change through a local response and helping individuals change the way they live and the way we live, encouraging and improving the safety of active transport, particularly including cycling, and our work with community groups on that, supporting our work on reconciliation, preserving our unique built heritage, ensuring that Burundara is a safe and inclusive place for everyone to live, including our LGBTQI+ communities, And things like protecting trees and encouraging biodiversity. And that's just really naming a few of the issues that have been very important to me, but that I've also seen have been very, very important to the community, and which I'm sure will continue to be very important to our community. I think just when I think about some of the highlights of my time on council, I often think about the times that we have actually sort of joined forces with the community to work together to create something better, to improve Burundara, because I think while we can do a lot as council, we can do much more when we work together with our communities. So I do want to mention also, it would be really remiss of me to not mention officers and their hard work and professionalism and generally really goodwill. I will certainly miss working with them to achieve results. So that's been a real positive, I think. I guess finally, my wish for future councils, if I'm allowed such a thing, would be twofold. One, that future councils could and will work together productively, professionally, and respectfully, as I think our community really expects of us. And two, that they would be committed to genuinely listening to and hearing the voice of the community, being available and open to hearing that voice, because I think it's a really fundamental responsibility for us as councillors and as a council. So I guess I just want to say thank you to the community for this time. It's been challenging and interesting, and I will value it through my life.
Thank you very much, Councillor Biggar. Councillor Thompson.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just following up on both Councillor Biggar and Councillor Sinfield, I'd just like to acknowledge the officers for their tireless commitment to supporting us councillors through thick and thin, probably more thick than thin at times. The patience that all officers have for us as we bring different hats and different opinions and different views is second to none. So I didn't see it fit to talk about myself, my 8 years on council, but I will talk about my colleagues that are stepping down at this council election. I know in my instance, as it is for others, that it's been a difficult decision to actually step away from council. To that end, to you, Madam Mayor, and all fellow councillors that are seeking re-election, you're doing so because you love this community and you seek the very best for this community. And over the last 4 years, you've all demonstrated your very best foot forward in respect for your community as well. So I wish you all the very best for your upcoming election, and hopefully you see another council term on the other side. So all the best to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. And look, if I might just add a little bit more, with yourself, obviously, your professional experience and what you bring to the chamber through your ability, through your architectural career, your chairing of meetings, whether it be as a mayor, urban planning or other committees that you have served on, and likewise with Councillor Biggar, with the committees that you have served and chaired. You have just been so inspirational in your leadership, and as I said before, representing a very broad and diverse group of community. Your skill sets are exceptional, as is Councillor Park, who is not with us this evening. And I believe that we have had an excellent council representing our community over this last 4 years, and very, very pleased that we're just, as a council, going through the community consultation to find out what our community's voice is for the forthcoming council to support and represent and listen to the voice of the community, implement for the next 4-year term and beyond. So I'd also like to echo the officers' commitment to our community is exceptional, and that's been recognised with the community independent survey recognising Burundara Council as one of the leading councils in metropolitan Melbourne for its commitment and service to community. So thank you all for your service. We will very much miss the 3 retiring councillors, and whilst you're retiring from council, we know your professional careers will be incredibly busy, and we look forward to seeing what you choose to do, what your future endeavours are. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I look forward to sitting in the gallery and posing questions, difficult questions of councillors in the future.
The gallery might be at its quota those evenings when you come in. Thank you very much. Now we will conclude with the meeting, but I also just wanted to thank Councillor Sinfield for her very kind words as well. Very much appreciated. And we now move into general business element of conflict of interest. Councillor Franco, you indicated a conflict?
Yes, I'm going to declare a conflict as I missed the last council meeting due to my attendance at a funeral. Thank you.
Okay, so we will just wait while you leave the chamber. Thank you. Yeah, I believe we have a motion prepared on the screen behind. The council resolves 1, Councillor Victor Franco be granted a leave of absence for the 16th of September and Councillor Jim Park be granted a leave of absence for the 23rd of September. Councillors, I'm in search of a motion. Councillor Stavrou.
So moved, Madam Mayor,
Thank
as on
you.
the screen.
The opposite, the motion before us. And Councillor Sinfield.
Happy to second.
Thank you. Is there anyone opposed to that motion? I see no opposition. I will now put that motion. Those in favour? I declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Now, we will... Thank you. We will just wait for Councillor Franco to come back into the room. Welcome back, Councillor Franco. We will now move on to urgent business. Is there any urgent business? I see no lights on. Confidential business? There is no confidential business on the agenda. So before we move to the close of this meeting, as I said earlier, this is the last formal meeting with a full agenda for this council term, and as Councillor Sinfield said, there will be a supplementary meeting for just one specific agenda item on the 14th of October. So we will now go to closing the meeting, and I thank councillors for their contribution. I thank members of the gallery for attending, and I thank the community for watching live stream, and wish you all a very safe future. Now, this meeting is closed at 7:04 p.m. Good evening, and thank you for your attendance.